Hi, I'm Jeff Wimmer from Studio Cycles and StudioCycles.com, and today in this YouTube session we're going to talk about the pros and cons of the Keiser M3 indoor group cycle. This is the Keiser M3 indoor group cycle. This bike retails at about $1,500 to $1,600, although I have seen them online at Amazon and different giant fitness equipment websites in the $1,400 range. The Keiser M3 is a beautiful bike. It's made here it's actually not made, it's put together. The frame, I believe, is manufactured in California. My guess is a lot of the components on the bike are probably manufactured overseas. The bearing assemblies, the computers, a lot of the components OEM'd or sourced outside of California in the Keiser facility. We have the only indoor cycling specific retail store in the world here in Venice, California. It's called the StudioCycles.com store. And we carry the big four: Star Trek, Schwinn, Keiser, and Le Monde. And people climb on this bike and it just doesn't fit everyone that climbs on the bike, particularly petite women or taller gentlemen. With most of the indoor bikes, the commercial indoor bikes, in fact, all the commercial indoor bikes except for the Keiser M3, when you raise the handlebars go up and down just like a bicycle would if you're raising the stem. With the Keiser M3, the handlebars move forwards and up at the same time, so you're actually elongating the bike as you raise the handlebars. And if you're, like I said, if you're a petite woman or a taller guy, the bike doesn't fit very well at all. Although plenty of petite women and taller gentlemen will go into spinning facilities or indoor group cycling facilities that use the Keiser M3, and they'll make do and they'll adjust. And unbeknownst to a lot of those people, fitting on this bike incorrectly and using it long term, I would venture to guess it would promote back issues and probably neck pain. So that's one of the dynamics with the Keiser M3. It does have an optional computer that you can get with the bike, which shows wattage. It also has, instead of a knob that you turn, it has a shift lever that you raise up and down, and the shift lever reflects gear numbers on the computer screen. So you've got 1 through like 15 as you're adding resistance to the bike. The one thing that I've noticed in the facilities is that because you have a cable from the shifter to the back wheel where the mag basket drops and applies and you apply and remove resistance, and that cable is so long that if you don't calibrate the cable with the resistance, number 5 on one bike and number 5 on another bike and 5 on another bike can be 3 different levels of resistance, because cables will stretch, particularly when they're that long on the bike. So that's something that has to be addressed, and you need to be proactive instead of reactive with the maintenance on this bike as well. Also, I got a group of the Keiser M3 bikes that came out of a local YMCA after 2 years, and it was obvious to me that these bikes that I pulled out of this YMCA were not meticulously maintained, because as beautiful as this bike is, all of this aluminum on these bikes, it just really goes downhill quick when the bike is sweated on over and over and over, and the oxidization and the buildup and the corrosion is just, it's monstrous on the bikes. I mean, they really, after 2 years, they really needed to be completely torn apart, and a lot of those things had to be cleaned and actually repainted. One other notable on the Keiser M3 is that out of the big 4 companies, Keiser is one of the 2 companies that they don't use perimeter weighting in their flywheels. And this is also belt drive. So the belt drive is whisper quiet and smooth. Synthetic, almost too synthetic if you want a bicycle feel. But with the non-perimeter weighted flywheel, what happens, because so many people who ride these bikes are not cyclists, they tend to bring the Stairmaster pedal stroke to the table. And when you take a non-cyclist and you stick them on a bike with a perimeter weighted flywheel, i.e. Star Trek or Schwinn, the aggressive inertia produced by that perimeter weighted flywheel, it takes that Stairmaster pedal stroke and it smooths it out to where you have a 360-degree pedal stroke, which makes the movement more fluid and it makes the overall activity more beneficial to all parts of your body. So non-perimeter weighting in the flywheel is a big deal. These bikes are, they're used in a few facilities around Southern California. I have them in my store. I sell them at, I believe, $1,500 with standard factory warranty. You can see this bike and our complete Bike Buyer Aid video library, both residential and commercial customers, at studiocycles.com.